One of the number one reasons why women struggle with dating and relationships today is that they choose men who are not ready for anything real. Ladies, there are lots of great relationship-ready men out here. However, you need to learn how to choose them. I wrote this book to teach you how to do just that. Get your copy of Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you on Amazon today.
Good morning. I am coming to you all this morning from my home office, and I wanted to do a teaching lesson today on how to overcome adolescent egocentrism. This is something that I see is very prevalent right now, and it is because we have this arrested development. I've talked at length about that, how in the last 15, 20 years, 30 years, we have an arrested development amongst adults. And that basically means that instead of going through all of the developmental cycles, right? People tend to get stuck. So I'm actually going to read to you the definition of arrested development because I cannot do it justice. So it refers to a premature stopping of physical or psychological growth. I would also add emotional growth. So physical, psychological, or emotional growth resulting in an individual being stuck at an earlier stage of development. So why do I say that? Well, we know that as society has gotten easier, right? We have all of these modern day technologies, and we have all of these things that make our life easier. Like we don't have to walk miles for water. We don't have to go down to a river to wash our clothes. Like we have tons and tons of modern day amenities. And it's almost like as life got easier for humans, they got softer. They became just very immature. And what I often tell people when I'm talking about this is, okay, so I think about my parents. My parents who were both born in the 1940s. And when my mom was 21 and my dad was 22, they got married. My brother was born shortly after. By the time my mom was 24 and my dad was 25, they had me. They had two kids. They had a home of their own. My mom stayed at home when we were very young, but she went to work when I was like in kindergarten. But they had what some would consider to be the American dream at 25, right? They had a home, they had each other, they had two kids. We had 6 dogs at the time. I remember that. We had 6 dogs at the time of my birth, and they had the quote unquote American dream. And we don't see that today, right? We don't see 20-something-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds. We don't even see 35-year-olds with what my parents had at 23 and 24 years old. So there is a bit of an arrested development. Now, here's what you all are going to say in response to that. It's the economy. It's the economy, Anita. That is relatively recent, right? So ever since the pandemic, that's when we saw everything explode. The cost of everything exploded. But how do you explain prior to that? So prior to 2020, how do you explain in 2015, in 2010, people were still in their 20s. They did not work full time. They were not married or having children. They did not own a home. How do you explain that? Okay, so there is something going on. And if we keep going at this rate, here's what's really sad about what could happen. So we're going to see more and more people putting off marriage, putting off having children. Here, now let me tell you, this is specifically for the ladies. So I want the ladies to open their ears. Here is what specifically will happen for women. So even though society has gotten easier and some of you think better and softer, here's what women need to understand. So your reproductive system, your biology has not changed in thousands of years. And some would even argue that your reproductive system, your fertility is actually going down. So my grandmother had her last child, I think she was 40 or 41. She was 40 or 41. She had 10 children. She had her last child at 40 or 41. So I would argue that the fertility window was actually longer years ago, but it is not anymore. They are estimating that a woman's fertility window is 20 years from the date of her first menses. So from the date of her first period, the clock is ticking. Okay, so you putting off marriage till 35 does not change that biological fact. You waiting until you're 40 doesn't change that biological fact. That is a biological fact that women need to work within. The other controversial thing that I have stated that really pisses people off, good morning, Kia Katia, good morning, is that I believe that it is marriage and it is children that actually helps people to grow up. So you want to stave off this arrested development, then you want to get into a serious relationship. You want to get married. You want to have a child. That can help. Now, we know that doesn't always help because, again, I know a lot of people who are parents and they're incredibly immature. They're not very good parents. And that's a whole nother conversation. I believe a lot of that is due to poor parenting, their parents, poor parenting of them. And I also believe it's due to trauma. But if you didn't have any of that, like if you had a pretty normal, healthy childhood and you feel like your parents did a good job, okay, you want to move through all of the different levels of development. You do not want to get stuck on any one level. So I'm going to look up Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development because I don't have them memorized. Okay. So we think about stage 1, which is birth to 1 year old, stage 2, 1 to 3, stage 3, 3 to 6, stage 4, 6 to 12, stage 5. A lot of people get stuck in stage 5, which is 12 to 18. Stage 6, 18 to 40. We have to progress, right? To stage 6, stage 7, 40 to 65 years old, and stage 8, 65 until death. But a lot of people get stuck in stage 4 and stage 5. Okay, we see that a lot. Okay, I got some comments here. Hold on one second. All right, Brianna Cole says marriage isn't really a goal anymore for a lot of women and men. Gen Z are more career driven. Again, that is a temporary fix. That is a temporary fix. They're going to wake up one day and realize that their job is not going to be there if they get sick or ill. So that is just a temporary thing until they wake up. It's just like when I was young and I thought I was invincible. Like my daughter's going through that stage right now. She thinks that she can grind her body into the ground. She can get 3 hours of sleep. She can eat poorly. Like that's a thinking of an adolescent person. They think they're invincible. They think that they won't die, that nothing can hurt them. And then you get older and you realize, oh, there are limits. There are limits to my body. There are limits to my energy. And as you get older and you grow and you learn, see, that's why at my age, I don't clap back. See, I know I have a finite amount of energy to give. That's why all the clap back is going out of me. I don't have it to give. I don't have any clap back, meet you with negative energy. I don't have any more of that at all in my life. Like, you have to really push me to the edge to get a clap back out of me. Because, I have recognized that at this age, I just don't have the energy for it. And I limit my interactions with people that is just not worth it. Like, I determine when I'm talking to people, like, how much energy do I want to give this? How much energy do I want to give to this person? That's what happens when you're over 50. And 9 times out of 10, the answer is none. So again, when you're young, you think you have all the time in the world. You think you're invincible. You never think about things like getting sick, getting hurt, cancer, ALS, and other diseases. You never think about any of that. You are young, you are virile, and you feel like you're going to be this way forever. And then you wake up and you struggle to get out of that bed one day, or you have a serious illness or an injury, and you're like, oh, I have limits. So yeah, I have limits. Say yes to Heaven 1111 says, I feel it's so unsafe for people to just have kids. I see so many women be their worst to the kids, and everyone has trauma from their childhood. They need to get an AA degree in early childhood development. That would not hurt. That would not hurt. Here's what I'm going to say to that. I've come to terms with the fact that there's a percentage of women that won't have children. And I mean, that used to hurt my heart. The thought of a woman not having a child, when I tell y'all, that used to hurt me so bad. Like that used to hurt my little heart, because you just need to understand that who I am and what God has positioned me to be, it's like he downloaded inside of me that is every woman's charge. That is every woman's destiny. And I have to change all of that. Like, I am literally having some sort of identity crisis when I say that, because God told me, like, that's why he gave every woman a womb. That's why he gave every woman the ability to have a child, because that is women's destiny. But now it's like I have to come to the realization that in 2025, there's a percentage of women that shouldn't have children. There's a percentage of women that won't have children of their own volition, and that is their right. I don't want to take anyone's right away to, if they don't want to have kids, then don't have kids, right? There's a percentage of women that this is going to be harsh, their DNA should not go forward. Okay? So their DNA shouldn't go forward. Okay? But it has taken me a long time to get to that, because I truly believed in my heart of hearts, and maybe I was naive, that is every woman's charge. That is how every woman is going to move through those developmental stages, by having a child, by displaying that unconditional love, by feeling that unconditional love, feeling that rush of oxytocin. Like, I cannot even explain the bond, the chemicals that flood your body when you have a baby and when you nurse that baby. I can't even put it into words. So in my humble opinion, it is a part of the maturation process. It is a part of that person growing, learning to be self-sacrificing, sacrificial to their child. There's so many things that a woman learns by having a child. However, it's 2025. And the truth is, there is a large percentage of women that shouldn't have children, that won't choose to have children, that their DNA should not move forward. And I'm coming to terms with that slowly. It is a slow moving ship, because I just never thought that this would be where we are. She says that Brianne Nicole, true, but careers don't hold you at night. Exactly. But it's okay. Not everyone needs to pass their DNA. I can see women lose themselves when they have a baby. It's scary to see. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say about the whole I lost myself. No, I don't buy it. You don't lose yourself when you have a baby. You don't lose yourself when you get married. You don't lose yourself, having children and caretaking. That's not what happens. That is the false narrative that who wants y'all to believe. You expand yourself. See, they're lying to you by saying, I lost myself. I don't know who I am anymore. And when I got married and when I had kids, I lost my identity. No, you didn't. You expanded your identity. You expanded your identity to include mother, wife. There are other things that you're now called to do. But the powers that be are selling you this narrative that you've lost yourself, that you like you trying to go out and find you. No, you're still you. You still love the things you love, but you have to expand your definition of you to include your children, to include your husband. And that's why I'm constantly working with women, whether it's in the early stages of them having their children or when their children get older. I want them to carve out time each week, each day, each month, where they can pursue something that interests them. They can pursue their hobbies. They can pursue a part-time gig or a business. They can pursue writing. They can pursue acting. They can pursue whatever they want. But they have to expand their definition of who they are and what they are now. They're trying to sell you all a lie. Because look at Anita. Look at Anita. I didn't see any of this on the back end of my life. But thankfully, I was a good and faithful servant to my husband, to my children, and I was blessed with, hey, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should start your own business. Maybe you should start an online coaching business. Maybe you should start a school. Maybe you should write a book. You all somewhere believe that being over 40, or God forbid, being over 50 is old. Oh my God, I've got to squeeze all of my life in by the time I'm 35. It doesn't work that way. God willing, I will live as old as my parents are today. My father is 84. My mother is 83. And I am 57. Let's do some math, okay? And y'all know I suck at math. You ready? I suck at math. But I'm going to do some math, okay? So let's see. There we go. 25 years. I got 25 years. If I'm blessed to live as long as my mother is now, and look, I don't see my mother dying anytime soon. Her mother lived till she was 95. So if my mother lived as long as her mother, she's not going nowhere till she's 95. But if I was to die at my mother's age today, I still have 25 years, y'all. I still have 25 years. That's a substantial amount of time to do a whole lot of stuff. So you have to dissect these messages, these narratives that you're hearing out here in the space that's telling you that, you have to build this big, beautiful career and make all of this money, and you have to do it all by the time you're 35 because, again, that 20-year window, pay attention to that 20-year window. And here's what no one is telling you, that at 30 years old, on average, some women 35, some women later, 37, 38, some women earlier. But on average, the age is 30. When a woman turns 30, that clock is banging. What are we doing? What's going on? Are you having a child? What are we doing? Are you nurturing something? Are you doing this? That clock starts banging. What are you doing? Because we don't have much longer. You need to decide what it is you're doing. We don't have a whole lot of time left. And guess what happens when you do that? You race around and you try to find somebody to be with and find somebody to marry and find somebody to procreate with. You do not use your good logic and your good mind because you're in a state of frenzy and you're going to pick the wrong person. You're going to pick the wrong person. You will marry the wrong person or procreate with the wrong person because you're doing it from a sense of urgency. Okay? He said it's not how you start, it's how you finish sometimes. It's how you finish every time. Every single time. I keep telling y'all. Focus on the back end. Y'all keep worrying about having everything your little heart desire by 35. And if I'm being honest, I had everything. I had everything to some extent by the time I was 35. I had a career. I had a husband. I had 3 children. I had a big, beautiful house. I drove a nice car. I had a lot of things. I had most of the things that people say they want by the time I was 35. And yet and still, even I had to learn, oh, baby, there's so much more. There's so much more. And like I said, I didn't see any of this coming. There's so much more. And look, God whispered to me just the other day, oh, I got more. I got more for you. And I was like, really? He said, yeah. Yeah, Anita, don't think 57 is the end. See, y'all be out here listening to these messages, and they are pervasive messages. Do y'all realize how pervasive these messages are? The wall is undefeated. Winter is coming. If you don't do it by this age and that age is old, you lose value. Nobody wants you. Like, these messages are pervasive. And if you stumble upon these videos here and there, those messages get inside of you. They get inside of you, and then you start believing it, and then you start acting from your belief. And it's a mess. It's a mess, just like the feminist message. You heard that over and over and over. Everywhere you went was the feminist trope, and now you have internalized it. You believe it. You believe it. Oh, I am oppressed by marriage. And having children is a weight around my neck. Like, I can't make this up. Having your own children, nurturing your own baby is a weight around your neck. Think about that. And some of y'all go out here and you get a dog or you get a cat. I mean, it ain't a whole lot of difference. So you're responsible to that? Why wouldn't you be responsible to a child? Can I be honest? The child is going to grow up and go off. The child is one day going to be relatively independent and self-sufficient if you raise it right. The dog is never going to be. I have a dog downstairs that is 17 years old. And I mean, he's deaf. He's been deaf for 5 years. He's now becoming blind. And guess who has to take care of him all the time? For 17 years. So that is mind altering, that you all will choose to have a dog or a cat, something that will never grow up, that will never bring in income, that will never, take itself out to the bathroom or any of that. But, having kids, it's just so much. But like I said, I'm coming to terms with some of y'all don't need to have children. And I'm coming to terms with it. It's okay. It's okay. I just soothe my soul. It's okay, Anita. Everybody should not have children. Everybody would not make a good parent to those children. Everybody would not put other good people out into the world. It's okay. So I have to soothe myself when I think about that. Okay? We're going to get back to our original topic, which is overcoming adolescent egocentrism. So again, people stuck, what did I say? Stage 5. People are stuck in stage 5. That's 12 to 18 years old. Identity versus role confusion. Okay? The basic virtue is fidelity, and it says teens explore personal identity and sense of self. So you got a lot of people stuck in that stage. They don't want to grow up. They don't want to go to stage 6, whereas you are becoming an adult, right? You're learning how to be social. You're learning how to get along with others, compromise, and you're doing adult things. You're going out into the world. You're responsible for yourself. You're taking radical responsibility for yourself in stage 6. You're not blaming everybody for your lot in life. You're saying to yourself, okay, these things happen to me, but they aren't going to define me. We have to go to stage 6 because too many people are not. You're so busy blaming everybody from your past, blaming your parents, blaming your first boyfriend, your first girlfriend. Blame, blame, blame. You have to grow up and go to stage 6 where you take radical responsibility for your life. It sucks. I am the first person to tell you that if you were mistreated by your parents, if you were abused, sexually abused, physically abused, verbally, emotionally abused, neglected, it sucks. It sucks. My heart goes out to you. And, because remember, we are dialectical thinkers over here. It is both and. And I'm going to need you to take radical responsibility. I'm going to need you to do the work necessary to heal from those wounds. And stop living. Do you know that most people today are living in the 18 years of parenting that they got from their parents? They have not stepped out and stepped away from that. I have reparented myself. I have been on a reparenting journey for 35 years. So I'm not relying on my parents' parenting. And they did a good job. They actually did a pretty good job. But it's not enough. We have to keep going and growing. We have to keep learning. We have to figure out what works for us, what lands for us. Our parents give us a lot of good things. They give us a lot of not so good things. So we got to get rid of that. Because remember this, the coping skills, the tools that you used in childhood to survive, they don't work in adulthood. They don't work in healthy relationships. Okay? So the fawning and the shutting down and the lying and the manipulating and telling people what they want to hear so that, you don't get a spanking or you don't get punished or see, that stuff don't work in adulthood. You need to be accountable, radically responsible for what you do. You need to work through the shame that you have. You are not a bad person. Now, maybe this is, me being Susie Sunshine. I do not believe people are born good or evil. I believe people they're born. They're born. I do not believe in, a demon seed or an evil seed. I don't believe in that. I believe people are born. And because we're made in the image of God, so there's two things at play. We're made in the image of God. That says a lot. We're also born into sin. That says a lot. So those are the two things that are at play. At some point, you're going to get to decide which side you're going to land on. And that's what I mean by that radical responsibility and accountability. I have chosen, I am made in the image of God. I can do anything with Christ's help. I can abstain from having sex out of marriage. I cannot lie. I cannot curse. I cannot steal. I cannot murder people. I can do all of that because, number one, my family gave me morals and values. My family, instilled goodness and kindness in me, but it's also due to God's love. It's due to, his tutelage of me and me reaching for that. So that's the side I chose. I am made in God's image. I can do anything with God. That's the side that I chose. Some of y'all chose the sin side. Well, men ain't made to be celibate and they not made to just be with one woman. That's you choosing sin. Okay, so I know y'all think, that's in you and this and that, but I'm sorry. There are too many men who are out here just being with one woman, not sleeping with other women. They're in a marriage and they're just with that woman. Or there are men out here that are abstaining altogether. That number is very low, but there are men out here abstaining. So how do you explain that? It's in a man's nature to just, oh, he's just got to do it. I believe that is a part of his nature, but I also believe God gave you a brain. God gave you the ability to reason and logic. God gave you the ability to make good choices that are actually going to benefit your life. So this is what men don't understand. When they keep selling that narrative, they're saying, I'm just an idiot. I don't have no mind. I'm stupid. I'm an animal. I'm just an animal. That's what you're saying. That's how you sound. I'm dumb. I can't think. I can't reason. I'm just an animal. I'm just an emotional, driven by my flesh, hedonistic animal. That's what you're saying. That's how you sound. Okay? So, no, stop it. Hold on, I'm going to go back. Okay. Marriage. This is Kia Katia. Marriage is a beautiful thing. It's definitely hard, but beautiful with the right person. Y'all, I was married to the wrong person. And for a while, it was great. like, that's how great marriage is. I was married to the wrong person. And the first 5 years was wonderful. I was like, wow, this is just amazing. So I can't even imagine what marriage is like with the right person. Like the way that we operated, the way that we were in our roles, the way that we supported each other, the way in which everything got done. Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. It was right until it was wrong. So I can't even imagine. He said the right person is the kicker. That's true. Mixed messages. You can find the right person if you study and don't have sex. Agreed. All you got to do is keep your pants on. Especially today. Keep your pants on. Stay off your back. Stay off your knees. And you're going to find out the sincerity of that person very quickly. So if you're a man abstaining, you're going to be called gay. They're going to question your sexuality. What else? They may make it mean something about them, which it don't. If you're a woman, the man is going to go on to something cheap. He going to go on to, instead of getting pure, solid, 24 karat gold, he going to go on to aluminum. You know what? There's plenty of women out here that'll do what you want. Bye. You are trading 24 karat gold for aluminum. Good luck. Okay. So and this is what I keep telling y'all. Let him use the next woman. I don't feel no kind of way about a man leaving me alone because I'm not sleeping with him. Oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus. You done saved me from a soul tie. You done saved me from an STD. You done saved me from bad pH. Thank you. Who you think you hurting? You doing me a favor. Actually, you showed your true love for me when you went on about your business. You showed some genuine care for me that, let me go on to the next woman. Please stop. He said courting. She said, yes, courting sounds old fashioned, but it works. I don't understand anything else. I've been married 11 years and he got on my last nerve, but a good mate. Marriage should be the goal, not relationships that are dead end zones. But today, marriage is dying. People say marriage is antiquated. Yep. They say marriage is old fashioned and antiquated. And, we don't need it. Just like y'all don't need morals and values anymore. Women going out half dressed, their butt cheeks hanging out of the bottom of their pants, showing up at the kids' school looking like this. Make it make sense. Why we got to see your butt cheeks hanging out the bottom of your shorts or your skirt? Make it make sense. So that's old fashioned too, huh? Having good old fashioned, I probably shouldn't wear this. I definitely shouldn't wear it to the kids' school. Oh, that's gone. That's gone because you all support this hedonistic, degenerate culture. Do what you want. Wear what you want. Let me look up the scripture. I live by this scripture. Okay, there we go. Because Y'all, right here. You ready? 1 Corinthians 10:23. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Okay? Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up. That's y'all, like, what don't y'all understand? That just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. But that's where we are. People don't understand that simple and plain scripture. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. You got people out here talking about all this weird, freaky sexual stuff they do to one another. Oh, but it's consensual. Do you know it is a black female? This came across my timeline too, y'all. It's a black female OnlyFans model on trial right now because some older white gentleman reached out to her wanting her to do all this sadomasochistic stuff and tape his mouth shut and tape his nose shut and just all to tie him up, just all this craziness. And the man died. The man died. And y'all gonna say, well, he paid for it. It was consensual. That's what he wanted. How do you sound right now? How do you sound right now? I mean, am I the only one in this world that have a lick of common sense? Lord, the problem is you can't have hookup culture and be marriage minded. Yep. And you gotta pick a side. And that's what I'm telling women. You have to pick a side. You have to pick a side. Now, I don't need to tell you what the winning side and the losing side is, because y'all, pick a side. That's what I'm telling women. You either marriage minded and you're going to use long-term mating strategy, or you want casual sex and you're going to use short-term mating strategy. You have to pick a side. And look, even if you don't want to technically be married, a lot of people, I don't want to be married. Okay, but you want something real. You want something genuine. You want something committed. And you're not going to get it meeting men in bars, sucking them off in their car. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it doing that. Okay? And then, and look, this how dense some women are. Some women are beyond dense. That's why every day I'm writing the book, I'm like, let me hurry up and write this. Well, the men said that they don't look down on women that have sex with them soon. The men said that, it's not that big of a deal. Of course they're saying that. They're the ones getting the sex. They're going to tell you whatever they need to tell you to make you feel better about giving them free sex. Oh my God, I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. Generational trauma reversals. Healing journey, 20 years. Good for you. Love that phrase at Art of War 805. She preaching y'all radical responsibility. Damn, this is such a good lecture. Thank you. Clubbing and trying to find a suitable mate ain't going to happen. No, it is not. You have to decide. You cannot have a foot in both worlds. That's why women who keep talking about the hoe phase, you sound dumb. You sound dumb. You don't realize that you are frying all of your dopamine receptors. You're eroding your ability to bond, to lifetime bond with one man, right? I want y'all to think about something. People who have pornography addiction, do you know how long it takes for them to get those images out of their mind? That's the number one reason why people have such high recidivism when they're trying to get rid of porn. There's a high rate of recidivism. There's a high rate of people backsliding. And it's because those images are burned in your brain for 5 or more years. People don't realize that all of those pornographic images, they're burned in your brain for years. It's going to take 5 or more years for you not to be in the grocery store, in the doctor's office, sitting in class, sitting at work, and a pornographic image flash before your mind. And you'll be like, oh, what just happened? Like, where did that come from? Like, yeah, these things are serious. The same with women out here sleeping around, men out here sleeping around. Let me do the equal opportunity thing today. Men out here sleeping around, and you really think that this behavior is just somehow going to go away when you find the one. Oh, I found, a good woman finally. I'm going to settle down. No, it's not going to go away. The flashbacks are going to be there. The comparison is going to be there. The inability to bond is going to be there. I have other options. If this gets hard, if I don't get sex one night, I have plenty of options and I need to exercise those options. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. He said the internet has become the devil's sex shop. Yep. The devil is going to twist and destroy everything that God made. God created sex, but the devil twists it and destroys it. Okay? And they curve the good guys that want them long term, dumb and delusional. Yep. Yeah, pornography is the worst. And it's wild to me that you have professional people encouraging people to use it. I'm like, oh my God. You have professional people in our space. Yeah, I think I think it adds spice to the relationship. I think it brings a little novelty. I think it's fine. I think it's sex positive. There's nothing sex positive about pornography. And like I said, if you're a Christian, it is an abomination. It is an abomination. If you call yourself a Christian, it is an abomination what you're doing. And that's not to shame you, but it's to wake you up that you need to get free of it. Brianne Nicole says, there is really no incentive to get married anymore. Women don't understand that they have spoiled men with all this free sex and playing house. Precisely. So as soon as the majority of women stop doing that, and especially the ones, now I want y'all to really lean in. You ready? Lean in. I want you to really listen. So the women who are most desired, when those women stop giving men free sex, that's when things will change. Okay? So technically, we don't even need all of the women to do it. We need the most desirable women to do it. Because those are the women that men want. And can I be honest? Those women even today, like if those women abstain, they don't have any problem getting good men. They don't have any problem getting engaged, getting proposed to, getting married, because they are highly desirable. They know their worth, they know their value, and they act like it. Baby, this is not free. This is not free 99. This is going to cost you something. And I'm not even talking about this. But if that man wants that woman, he has to pay her price. I wish every woman in the world understood that, but you don't. But you don't, because you all don't even know your own worth and value. You all don't even know the power that you hold in your itty bitty hand. You give your power away every single day. But all I need is the desirable. So 7s and above, 6s and above, 7s and above. I need all of them to abstain. That's what I need. And yeah, men may get sex from a 3 or a 4, but they don't want to be with them. That's what I keep trying to get into every woman's thick skull. That a man having sex with you is called, y'all think it means something. A man getting you pregnant is called, y'all really think it means something. You really think you're doing something. And you got it in your twisted head that now, okay, well, he didn't stay with me, but he was a 7 or an 8. So that's my level. No, it's not. No, it's not. Your level is the man who is committed. Your level is the man who has publicly claimed you. Your level is the man who proposed. Your level is the man who you married. That's it. I know that's some harsh truth, but that's the truth. That's your level. Okay, so I even look back on all the men that I've been committed to. I look back on all the men that proposed to me. I look back on the man that married me. That's my level. That's my level. Okay, and what's funny is it's been pretty consistent. It has been pretty consistent. Men that were 7s. There was an occasional 8. I told y'all about the 2 men I dated when I was in my 20s. They were 9s. I dated 2 9s when I was in my 20s, but I was in my prime, y'all. I was in my prime. I can't get a 9 now. That ain't gonna happen. I can't get a 9. Okay. But can I get a 6 or a 7? Sure. Sure. That's been kind of my standard level. A 6 or a 7. That's kind of been my level. So that's the type of reality that most women don't want to live in. Y'all don't want to live in that harsh reality that you're not a 9, you're not a 10, you're not going to get a man that's a 9 or a 10. Like, that is a very harsh reality that women, for some reason, your ego will not allow you to humble yourself. It won't allow you to humble yourself. There were men that were interested in me sexually. Let's tell a little story here. You ready? There were men in my 20s that were interested in me sexually. And even I could see through the veneer. I could be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, no, I'm good. And some of those men were beautiful men, fine men. But again, you just being interested in me sexually is called so what? The men who said, live with me, right? Let me take care of you. You're my lady now. You meet my mom. You meet my kids. You meet my, that's my level. The men who said, here, take my ring, become my wife. That's my level, right? That's my level. Anybody else? And I remember a lot of men from college. I was like, nah, I'm good. Because see, I know the difference. And some of y'all need to learn the difference. She said, men and women really think that sex, intimacy, love is sick and twisted. Giving free sex to a guy who's never been shown worthy. Ooh, that right there. That right there, y'all. Romance novels is female porn. It is. At Brienne Nicole, so many incentives, cheaters, and immoral souls have destroyed the narrative. She said, so many Christians have the darkest vices. Yeah. Some females got to stop playing games with the guys that want them genuinely. I want them to just say no. If you don't want him, just tell them that. Just tell them that. So the models and the BBL girls need to abstain, but those girls scream sex by the way they look. I don't consider them I don't consider them 8s, 9s, and 10s. Some of them, not all of them. I run a strict program over here. Ask my husband. Good for you. But what makes a woman desirable? I rarely see women who most men would seem desirable. That's because of feminist dogma. Unfortunately, feminism has destroyed y'all. And I mean, I run across beautiful women too, but it's their attitude, it's their mindset, it's their thinking. So yeah, if I'm being honest, you know, when I think of 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s, I'm talking about comprehensively, not just looks. And they're rare. The 3s and 4s should abstain too. Let them beg, okay? Committed to the struggle, not just the honeymoon phase. What's a 10 for a man? Y'all, that's, it's like 0.3%. It's like 0.3%. Can I be honest? So I would consider Stephen Curry a 10. I think he's an attractive man. He has height. He is Christian. He is moral and upstanding. He is committed. I consider him a 10. Now, everybody may not necessarily like his look, but I consider him to be attractive. He's tall. He checks all the boxes that most women say they want. So there you go. She said, I'm a 5 for sure. I appreciate your humility, because when I say it, people, oh my God, why you say that? Women who want celebrities at 58 that everyone wants, they still think they can get them. Let's just laugh out loud right now. Let's just have a good laugh about that. What? I loathe feminism. Give me a conservative baddie any day. Yep. Traditional. Yep. Stephen Curry looks like a girl. I think Keanu Reeves is a 10. I think he is too. And definitely in his heyday. Now, Keanu Reeves is closer to my age. So I think he's 57, 58. He's a beautiful man. Like I said, he's just a beautiful man. He has a beautiful soul. He has a beautiful spirit. So I agree with you. And we've never heard any scandals. We've never heard any salacious stuff about him. I agree. But like I said, I'm thinking of the black community and, Stephen Curry, they don't get me wrong. A lot of women will see him as corny because he's not, out here playing the bad boy trope. People see him as corny, but in my eyes, he is a 10. He is a 10. There are plenty of women, millions of women, that would change places with Ayesha Curry in a heartbeat. Okay? She said Steph is the same on and off the court. Yes, he's a 10. He is. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. He is dating a woman his age. Exactly. So, y'all, I got to jump into my lesson real quick because I got to get out of here in 10 minutes. We got to go back to adolescent egocentrism. I want to give you some characteristics of adolescent egocentrism. I want you to ask yourself, is this me or is this somebody I know? Okay? Because when people are stuck in stage 5, they're going to exhibit these characteristics. You ready? Number 1, a focus on self-perception. These people believe that others are as attentive to their appearance and actions as they are. So these are the people that just know when they walk into rooms that people are looking at them or people are talking about them or, they think people are hyper-focused on them and they're not. That's in your head. Number 2, increased self-consciousness. So these people can be very self-conscious and very insecure. They become highly aware of how they look and what others might think of them. So they care a lot about their outside validation and what other people think of them. Number 3 is the imaginary audience, the belief that they are constantly being watched and judged by others. This is a stage 5 dynamic. This is what teenagers believe, that everybody's looking at me. Everybody's noticing me. They're not. They're worried about their own selves and their own lives. Number 6, the personal fable, the feeling that their own experiences are unique and special, leading to a sense of invincibility or isolation. So we see this a lot, where when I speak in generalizations or I talk about the 80% mean average, there are all these comments about, oh, not me. That doesn't apply to me. I'm different. I'm special. No, you ain't. Okay. The next one is obsession with self. Are we seeing that a lot today? Obsession with self. This can include preening, focusing on clothing and hairstyles, and vocalizing opinions without much regard for others. Ooh, are we seeing that a lot? Okay. Next is striving for independence. A drive to individuate from family and friends and establish personal autonomy, which may include pushing boundaries and seeking privacy. Okay, so we're seeing the strive for independence from a lot of adult people in terms of we're seeing more and more adults who are going no contact with their family. That's a, oh my gosh, just this year alone, that's an epidemic. And look, it started last year with the election because family members voted for Trump or family members, didn't vote for Kamala or their political stuff or whatever. Oh no, now they go no contact with their family. They say, nope, because you voted for someone different than me, because we don't agree on this issue. Oh, you're punished. You're in timeout. I'm just not going to deal with you. You're in no contact. That's how twisted this world has become. People can't even have a difference of opinion. People can't even disagree on a myriad of issues without you just, oh, I'm in no contact. I'm not talking to you. I'm not dealing with you anymore. This is how crazy it is. Okay? So the identity versus role confusion. This is the core psychosocial stage during adolescence where teens explore their independence and grapple with developing a sense of self. But again, because people are stuck, they're stuck in that stage. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to take the spotlight off of themselves and think about other people. That's what life is about. If you want to have the most fulfilling life in this world, you have to make it about others as well as yourself. And I am not sitting here saying that you have to be selfless and you have to fall on the sword and you have to only think about others. No, you have to consider yourself. You have to be somewhat self-interested. But what we're seeing today is not self-interest. It is selfish. It is self-absorbed. It is all about me. How does everything I do in this life benefit me? We're seeing that at work. We're seeing that with relationships. We're seeing that with friendships. That's why a lot of people don't want to have children. Can I be honest? I had a person tell me online, what is that supposed to do for me? How does that benefit me? How is that gonna, this is where we are. But because people are so selfish and self-absorbed, that's why they're stuck. They will not grow until they learn how to consider other people and how to do things for the love of God, for the love of Christ. Do you know how many things I do every day that do not directly benefit me? They are so that other people can grow and go out into the world and be great. Like I said, this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart. It is near and dear to my heart as someone who regularly volunteers, as someone who regularly, volunteers at church, volunteers in my community, gives back to my community. I look for every single opportunity I can to help other people. Because in my mind, that is how we're going to turn this thing around. That's how we're going to make it right. You have to have people like me that are just giving and doing just because. Just because. That is the rent that I must pay for being here on earth, is to help other people while I'm here. And God forbid, what would happen if people like me didn't exist? If everybody thought selfishly, if nobody had any kids and nobody did anything for anybody else? What a crazy world this would be. So this is a phenomenon. This adolescent egocentrism is everywhere. And it exists in adult people over the age of 21. So remember, I told y'all the stage is stage 5, 12 to 18. From 18, you are supposed to transition into the next phase. That's what my parents did. They turned 18. They're like, we grown. We grown. We need to educate ourselves. We need to get a job. We need to make money. We need to find a place to live. We need to have transportation. Like 18. I left my mama's house at 16. I moved in with my dad until I finished high school at 18. Same thing happened to me. Oh, I'm 18. Time to get it together. Time to get a job. Time to get a car. Time to think about other people. Time to find a husband. Time to have some kids. But this is the biggest reason of all. A lot of our mental health symptoms, a lot of our mental health conditions, they're born out of this adolescent egocentrism. This egocentrism, that's what's happening. Because you don't know how to think of others, because you don't know how to be considerate, because you don't know how to get your mind off of yourself and actually find things in your life that have true meaning. guess what you do? You sit around, you think about yourself, you think about your problems, you think everybody's looking at you and everybody's judging you and everybody's, none of that's happening. And that destroys you. That's where the depression and anxiety is coming from. That's what's destroying you, eating you alive from the inside out. So that's the biggest reason why I attempt to help people get out of this, because there are mental health repercussions of being this way. People who are stuck in stage 5, they have tons of mental health problems, and they internalize it. They identify, they wear the label of depressed and anxiety and ADHD and neurodivergent, OCD, and this and that. They wear these labels proudly. And it was never meant to be that way. All right, let me look at your comments and I got to run out of here. Is this topic in your book? It is not. It is not. Social validation. A lot of women don't understand where Aisha was coming from because they wish they were in her shoes. Men didn't understand because they think the only goal a woman should have is to be a wife. Perhaps. Selfie culture. I'm coming out of this stage and it's not easy, but necessary. Yeah. Politicians aren't paying my bills. They're not paying anybody's bills. And someone mentioned generational trauma reversal. Very real. Okay. Transactional love isn't love. No, it's hard to balance of how does it benefit me and how do I support this person? But we have to do that. There are going to be things in this life that I will do sacrificially. It won't have anything to do with me. It won't benefit me at all. And I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. Definitely narcissistic traits. Yep. Me. I don't know if you all have her book. So good. Thank you so much. Please consider purchasing either one of my books. It's not a hard balance. We learn this at a young age. It's crazy because I have transitioned but fall back. Yeah. Please be mindful. Just live and breathe to be a grown up. It's wonderful here. It's wonderful on this side of the fence. I keep telling people this economy is really bad now. So many college graduates that can't find a job anymore. Mental health is so saturated right now. Yep. Stuck in stage 5. Yep. All right. So I just wanted to give you that lesson. I know we went in a lot of different directions in this live, but I wanted to talk about this because this is something I see running rampant out here in the culture. I see it in my practice, and week after week after week, I'm working with people on this. I'm giving them challenges. I'm giving them tools, and I'm saying, hey, we got to grow up. We have to grow up. We have to balance being self-interested and at times being sacrificial or being considerate of other people. We have to balance those two things. We have to figure out how to do that. Okay, because that to me is what makes a comprehensive person. That to me is what makes a good person. I can be self-interested. I can make sure that I'm not doing things for others that are harming me. I'm not going to do something for someone else that harms me. You got it? But if it does not harm me, I can do it for the love of God, for the love of Christ. I can give this to them. It doesn't benefit me, but it doesn't harm me. That's what I want you to know. He said mental health is a hustle these days sometimes. I agree. It's everywhere. And the fact that you have the TikTok mental health, I mean, that sickens me. That's why I don't go on TikTok and I don't have TikTok. The fact that people are diagnosing themselves from TikTok is wild. That is wild to me. All right, y'all, I got to run. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you for the support of the platform. I am working tirelessly to get this ebook out. It will be an ebook. I will not go through Amazon to publish this book. You will be able to get this book directly through my Pillar link. And it is an ebook. So you can read it on your device, read it on your tablet, read it on your computer. All right. So I just want to say that because I had a couple people asking me, when it was coming out on Amazon. I'm not going that route this time. I've decided to do something different. So I look forward to being with you all again soon. I'm supposed to be resting my voice. I took the last 3 days off to rest my voice. So I might take another 2 days off to rest my voice, but I will be back soon. Thank you so much, you all, for joining me. I appreciate you all. And as always, stay open to love.